Picture this. You're in a heated discussion. Your heart is racing, your fists are clenched, words are flying back and forth like arrows in a battlefield. You feel that burning need to prove you're right, to make them see your point, to win this argument at any cost. But what if I told you that the moment you entered that argument, you already lost? Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who ruled Rome at its peak, understood something that most people spend their entire lives never learning. He wrote in his private journal how much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does. Think about the last argument you had. Maybe it was with your spouse about money. Maybe it was with your boss about a project. Maybe it was with a stranger on social media who just wouldn't listen to reason. How did you feel afterward? Drained? Frustrated? Like you wasted precious hours of your life? Here's the brutal truth that society doesn't want you to know. Every second you spend arguing is a second stolen from building the life you actually want. While you're busy trying to change someone's mind, your dreams are sitting in the corner, gathering dust, waiting for your attention. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayals, wars, plagues, and political chaos that would break most people. Yet he never lost his composure. He never wasted energy on meaningless battles. Why? Because he discovered the secret that I'm about to share with you. You see, there's a reason why some people seem to glide through conflicts while others get trapped in endless cycles of drama. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's mastering the art of winning without fighting, the ultimate form of psychological warfare that happens entirely in silence. When you truly understand what I'm about to teach you, you'll never look at conflict the same way again. You'll watch people exhaust themselves in arguments while you conserve your energy for what actually matters. You'll see through manipulation attempts before they even begin. You'll become the person others can't figure out, mysterious, powerful, and always one step ahead. This isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. This is about becoming strategically intelligent. This is about understanding that your time, your energy, and your peace of mind are your most valuable assets, and protecting them at all costs. Today, I'm going to show you 3 powerful principles from Marcus Aurelius that will transform how you handle every difficult person and situation in your life. These aren't theory. They're battle-tested strategies from a man who literally held the fate of an empire in his hands. But here's what I need from you. This video contains information that could change your relationships, your career, and your entire approach to life. Don't skip any part of it. Each principle builds on the last. Like, comment, and share this video, not for me, but because someone in your life needs to hear this message. Subscribe to the channel, because we're building a community of people who refuse to waste their lives on meaningless battles. Ready to discover why the most powerful people in history never raised their voices to win? Let's dive in. Number 1. The power of strategic silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you want to cheer yourself, consider the good qualities of your companions." But here's what he really meant. When someone attacks you with words, they're revealing their weakness, not your flaws. Let me paint you a picture that will change everything. Imagine you're in your kitchen and someone starts yelling at you about something trivial. Maybe you left a dish in the sink. Your first instinct is to defend yourself, to explain, to justify. But what if instead you simply looked at them with calm curiosity? Here's what happens in their mind when you don't react. Panic. They threw their best punch, and you didn't even flinch. They expected anger, defensiveness, tears, anything but your peaceful silence. Suddenly they're fighting a ghost, and everyone in the room can see it. I learned this lesson the hard way during a meeting with a client who was furious about a delayed project. He screamed, pointed fingers, called me incompetent. The old me would have fired back with explanations and excuses. Instead, I sat quietly, maintained eye contact, and simply nodded occasionally. After 5 minutes of his tirade, something magical happened. He started apologizing. He began explaining his own stress, his own failures, his own fears. By the end, he was asking me how he could do better. This is the power of strategic silence. When you refuse to engage in the dance of argument, you force the other person to hear their own words echoing back at them. Most people can't handle that mirror. They'll either escalate until they expose their true character to everyone watching, or they'll de-escalate and often end up agreeing with you. But here's the deeper psychology. When you argue, you're operating from your emotional brain, the same part that controls fear, anger, and survival instincts. When you stay silent, you're operating from your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for strategy, wisdom, and long-term thinking. You literally become more intelligent in real time. Marcus Aurelius understood that every word you speak in anger is a weapon your enemy can use against you later. Your silence? That's a vault they can never crack. They don't know what you're thinking, what you're planning, or how you'll respond. That uncertainty is your greatest advantage. But this isn't about becoming a doormat. Strategic silence is active, not passive. You're choosing not to waste your ammunition on targets that don't matter. You're saving your voice for conversations that can actually change your life. Number 2, the mirror of self-control. Marcus Aurelius faced one of history's greatest betrayals. His most trusted general, Avidius Cassius, declared himself emperor and tried to steal the throne. The entire Roman Senate expected blood, revenge, a public execution. Instead, Marcus wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Here's what most people don't understand about difficult people. They're not really attacking you. They're projecting their own inner chaos onto you, hoping you'll carry their emotional baggage so they don't have to. Think about that co-worker who constantly criticizes your work, that friend who always makes passive-aggressive comments, that family member who never seems satisfied with anything you do. What if I told you they're actually giving you a roadmap to their deepest insecurities? When someone attacks your appearance, they hate something about their own body. When someone questions your intelligence, they feel stupid inside. When someone calls you lazy, they're drowning in their own lack of progress. But here's where it gets fascinating. The moment you recognize this pattern, you stop taking anything personally. You become like a psychological detective, watching people reveal their secrets without even knowing it. I remember dealing with a manager who would publicly embarrass team members in meetings. Everyone feared him, but I started paying attention to the pattern. He only attacked people when he felt his own authority was threatened. He only criticized others when he'd made a mistake earlier that day. He was essentially giving us a live broadcast of his internal struggles. So instead of defending myself when he targeted me, I started responding with genuine curiosity. That's an interesting perspective. What would you suggest? Or, I can see this is important to you. Help me understand your concern. Watch what happens when you respond to aggression with curiosity instead of defense. The aggressor suddenly has nowhere to direct their energy. They expected resistance, and you gave them acceptance. They prepared for war, and you offered understanding. Within weeks, this same manager started coming to me privately for advice. The man who used to publicly humiliate me began treating me like his most trusted advisor. Why? Because I became the only person in his environment who didn't mirror his chaos back at him. This is the profound wisdom Marcus Aurelius discovered. When you refuse to become reactive, You force others to either escalate until they destroy themselves or evolve until they match your energy level. But here's the deeper truth. Every difficult person in your life is actually a gift. They're showing you exactly where you're still emotionally immature. They're revealing where you still give your power away. They're highlighting the parts of yourself you haven't yet mastered. The person who triggers you most is your greatest teacher, whether they know it or not. Number 3. The fortress of inner authority. Marcus Aurelius wrote what might be the most powerful words ever written about human psychology. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But let me tell you what this really means in your daily life. Every morning, you wake up with a choice that will determine whether you win or lose that day. You can either spend your energy trying to control what others think, say, and do, or you can invest that same energy in building an unshakable inner fortress. Here's a story that will change how you see every relationship in your life. A woman came to me devastated because her adult son constantly criticized her life choices. Every phone call became a battlefield. Every family gathering turned into a therapy session where she was the patient and he was the unwanted therapist. "I just want him to respect me," she cried. "I want him to see that I'm a good mother." But here's what I told her, and this will probably hurt to hear. The moment you need someone else's approval to feel good about yourself, you've already lost the game. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in human history, yet he never needed anyone's permission to feel worthy. Why? Because he understood that your value doesn't come from external validation. It comes from internal alignment with your principles. So I gave this woman a challenge. For 30 days, every time her son criticized her, instead of defending or explaining, she would simply say, "I hear that you feel that way." Nothing more. No justification. No counterattack. No emotional reaction. The first week was hell. He escalated, trying every button he'd programmed her to respond to, but she held her ground. By week 2, he started asking if she was okay. By week 3, he was sharing his own struggles. By week 4, he was asking for her advice. What happened? She stopped being his emotional dumping ground and became his mother again. This is what Marcus Aurelius called building your inner citadel, a place inside yourself that no one can invade, manipulate, or destroy. When you operate from this space, people can't help but sense your unshakable foundation. But here's the paradox that most people miss. The less you need to win arguments, the more you actually win. When you stop trying to prove your worth, people naturally start recognizing it. When you stop chasing respect, it begins chasing you. Your inner authority becomes so obvious that others instinctively defer to it, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Marcus Aurelius died over 1,800 years ago, but his words still echo through time because he understood a timeless truth. The person who can control themselves in the face of chaos controls everything that matters. You now have 3 weapons that most people will never discover: the power of strategic silence, the mirror of self-control, and the fortress of inner authority. But knowledge without action is just entertainment. Starting today, I want you to pick one difficult person in your life and apply these principles. Watch how the entire dynamic shifts when you stop fighting their battles and start winning your own inner war. Your transformation won't just change you, it'll change everyone around you. Like, comment, and share this video, because someone in your network needs to break free from the exhausting cycle of meaningless arguments. Subscribe to the channel for more life-changing philosophy that actually works. Remember, don't argue. Win.